know your value, and then add that to it. Have you ever had to devalue yourself or short how brilliant you are just because you want to get someone to accept you? In today's episode, we will be looking at healthy relationship, reasons you shouldn't settle, and at what age is it right for you to start having sex. Okay, I'm not alone today. I'm with Dr. Jules, also known as Dr. Posh.
It's a privilege to be here and talk to, the younger generation because, your question about defining healthy relationship, I don't think there is a straightforward answer to that because I think a healthy relationship depends on individual. I mean, while some people have to date every sons of Pharaoh before they meet their Prince Charming, some people are just so lucky to meet their Prince Charming at first attempt.
Okay.
So I would say healthy relationship is what gives you peace, what brings you peace of mind, when you actually don't have to bother and be worried about what makes him happy or
Okay.
not.
When you're talking about what gives you peace, don't you think some people have actually found peace? They've actually made peace with what is available.
They make peace with what is available.
Not actually.
No. They came to accept what is available.
Yeah,
Doesn't
they
mean are
made peace with it.
No, some of them, a whole lot of time we talk about people, making do with what is available. Yeah, sometimes what is available is what you make do with. You accept what is there. Doesn't mean you are happy with it. I mean, I want to be in a relationship where you wake up happy with the person there, with or without makeup, with or without dress on, with or without, other things, luxury things that we call luxury. But the point is, they accept what is available because they feel the world has left them behind.
So do you feel at this point that these people actually settled? Like they actually just came to a conclusion and then I'm going to settle here.
That's what I
think.
think.
This is not what I want, but then I'm going to make do of it.
Yeah, you got it right. A whole lot of time they want more, but the more is not available to them, and then they accept the little. And I wonder why people settle for less. I mean, if you have a standard, I'm not saying there is a book or a literature that says this is standard, but for you have a standard. Your standard could be a guy should have his own business, and my own standard could be just have a primary school certificate. It depends on the individual and what we want for our lives. I know where I want to be, and I want someone that will compliment me.
Okay, when I was growing up, right,
Yeah.
I had a perfect idea, a perfect picture of the kind of guy I want to marry, the kind of home I want to build.
Don't
but
we
then,
all? We want
okay,
the
so
tall, dark, Prince Charming, all the M&B guys, trust me.
Okay, then when I started dating, like you said earlier, that some of us have to date the sons of Pharaoh before we finally meet the
Go to
prince.
Egypt before you go to the promised land. Yeah,
Okay.
it happens.
Okay, now I just I wasn't really prepared to settle, like let me just take anything that is available. But then at first this whole thing looks so glamorous. It looks like it's everything you wanted in your life. Look, that person looks like this is the perfect being, and then that person is Mr. Right. Then you date first person looks like Mr. Right. You date second person looks like Mr. Right. Third person looks like Mr. Right. So at what point, even the married ones, they actually tell you that even when you're married, there is this change. There is
You keep dating until you meet the Mr. Right. Wait. Okay, even the scripture says, when people talk about marriage, you see some Christians, I'm not so religious, but I was raised a Christian, and I am a Christian, and I like to be,
stay on the line.
On that line. Now, a whole lot of people are against divorce. They'll say the Bible says, do not separate, or the Bible is against divorce.
Yeah,
God has joined together. Who
no.
says it was God who joined you together in the first place? Now, my point is this. You thought this was a Mr. Right. There's no way you get into the mind of that person. You don't know what their own plans was. I mean, you planned to go into this relationship, give it all you've got. You invested your money, your emotions,
time.
Everything. You invested everything into that. If you're not getting it back in return, I mean, walk away. What are we even talking about? Yes, keep giving it a try. Keep trying. Okay. Now it's like you keep falling as a child. You fall, then you stand up again. Stand on your feet. You learn from it. then you move on.
Okay. With this idea that you just pointed out now,
Yeah.
I met a man some years back, and then he's a pastor actually. So he said, we're talking about divorce, really. So he said, Nancy, what is your idea about divorce? I said, I don't like it. That I just feel people should be able to endure, like parents, they endured, and then in the end they felt like I stick with one man and stuff like that. And then societies actually frown at divorces. They frown at even the kids that are also affected in one way or the other. Society frowns at them. It's a default setting. Then he asked me and said, Nancy, if you are going to let's say you're going to Ikeja,
Yeah.
and then you bought a vehicle, and then the vehicle is actually going to Yanoba,
Okay.
will you alight and enter the right one? Okay, that was the big question for me. I did like this.
Divorce is a very sensitive topic. I've
Okay.
been there, done that. I married in my 20s. I thought, oh well, it's okay. But then I have hatred for lies. I mean, if you had lied to
Zero
me
tolerance.
once, I have zero tolerance for lies. In fact, generally, I have very low tolerance level. Now, imagine adding lies on top of that.
Oh, was it that you never saw anything, any trace like that when you guys
No,
were
I
dating?
didn't. No, that's the point. That's what I was trying to tell you. You're dating someone, you're ready to give it your all. You don't know what they're bringing to the table. They are there coming and placing a bet because they feel like, oh, I can bet you that I'm going to take this girl and I'm going to marry her.
I thought that only happens in the movies.
Oh yeah, apparently my life was a movie. It happened, and guess what? The same year I walked away. Now, my point is this: it's a very sensitive topic. It's not everyone that has the courage to walk away. It's not everyone. The society, the culture, and thankfully, I have a family. I come from a family where everyone decides what they want. Nobody forces you or put pressure on you. You want to stay? Go ahead. You want to walk away? Everybody turn their back on your spouse. That's how it works in my house. So you have this freedom to choose what you want, and then they stand by you. You understand? One thing is that we have this mentality in Africa. There's this cultural and traditional belief that we feel is for better, for worse. Who says it has to be for worse? I mean, I don't want a worse life. I want a better life.
I don't want a worse life either. Nobody wants a worse life.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're still talking about settling, and then talking about health in relationship. Now these days in the society, you see a lot of young girls.
Yeah.
Young girls. We're still going to talk about the male counterparts. A lot of young girls, they feel, okay, I think this man is actually okay. He wouldn't give me much trouble. Let me just settle for this man. I don't know when I'm talking about this man in quote. I'm talking about someone who is much older than they are. And then in Africa, a lot of expectations are placed on the female folks, especially when you're a lady. They see that whatever you've achieved so far doesn't matter. If you're not married, whatever your achievement is, it doesn't count at all. So they see that's the greatest achievement for ladies. It also goes for the men, but then the pressure is more on the ladies. So do you think these ladies that are settling for these men, they are actually doing the right thing?
Okay, see, Nancy, there's this popular saying that age is just a number.
Yes.
The same way, I don't think it matters if a guy goes for an older lady. It still doesn't matter if a girl goes for an older man. But you must go into that kind of relationship with the right mind, the right mindset. You must have a connection. I don't think it's right for anyone to go into a relationship, either a guy or a lady, to go into a relationship just because there's peer pressure, there's family pressure, or traditional or cultural pressure. I think it's totally wrong. And most of the trending things now around our society is that you see younger ladies going for older men, and most of them are going in there for financial security.
You think so? You think it's not for safety?
I'm not saying all.
Okay.
I'm saying, for peace. Don't forget, I
You
told you that healthy
peace.
relationship is what gives you peace.
Okay.
If an older man gives me peace, why not? If it is a younger man that gives me peace, I'll go for it. Just whatever gives you peace. So I don't think the age should actually be an issue here. It's going into a relationship for a wrong purpose. I mean, you don't go into a relationship just because you feel like you are going to have financial security, economical security. From me, it is wrong. That except I am bringing it to you, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you financial security. Why you give me this kind of security? It has to be balanced.
Okay, so you guys have to sit and then talk about these things.
I
Or it's just
think
by
I'm more
default?
of I like facts and figures. Let's see the fact. If we have to plot a graph or a table or give ourselves targets, it's better. It works that way. If it works for you.
Anyway, it works for you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Thank you.
So talking about sex, what is the right age you think ladies or men should start having sex?
I don't think there is a right age for that.
Okay.
I
Because
think-
no, why I'm actually asking this question, because in our society you hear people say he or she started having sex too early, that's why you're saying these particular features in them and then they behave in this way, or
No, I don't think there is any right age. I think sex education is very important for every boy and girl, and it is the job of the parent solely and then the school to help educate. And I think that
I'm talking. I want you to talk to us from the medical perspective now.
there is no right age. It's when you are ready. I mean, you start having sex, you're not ready. Okay, what I am against is when you have unwanted pregnancy. I mean, if you're old enough to know you want to start having sex, the point is this: the moment you start having sex, you should be responsible. You should be responsible to take care of your mess. You should.
You see it as a mess.
Now, my point is this: if it turns out not to be a mess, that means you're wise. That means you are ready for it. But the moment you're having a unwanted pregnancy, you don't come to me and ask me for an abortion. I will ask you for your mother, your partner. And if it's not legal in Nigeria, it is not, and I'm not going to do it. Now, because you see me all with my red lipstick, and doesn't mean that I go everywhere getting rid of pregnancies. No, it's not done. So my point is this: you need to be ready. The moment you start having sex, then you need to start taking some responsibility. It's not like you use your condom or you are on the pill or any form of contraceptive. You just have to take care of yourself. There are different diseases out there apart from unwanted pregnancy. But the point is, you're right for age for sex. I mean, that was the question.
Yes.
When you know you are ready to be responsible for the outcome.
Okay, so if someone who is age 13, age 12, say I'm ready to be responsible.
That's still underage. Age 13 is still under the care of their parent. And
yeah, some people
should
do
be
this under the care of their parents.
It means
without their parent knowing.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. It means the parents are not doing a good job. At 13, my own mother knew where I was at every point, knew who she was handing me over to when she was going out. You understand? She wouldn't just leave me with a bunch of uncles and cousins, male cousins, and go out. She won't just leave me in school and not come pick you up when it is time to come pick you up. But most of these parents are so carried away with their career, they forget it. I mean, why have a child that you put in a boarding school at age 2? I've seen that a lot in Nigeria. It doesn't make any sense to me. You have a child and you're not ready to be responsible for them. It just doesn't make sense. That is height of irresponsibility. So I blame parents for such.
So okay, now it seems like you begin to have an age range because you
it's still not an age range.
Okay.
You say, okay, take for example, we talk about when is the right age. 18 years old is legally an adult. And 18 years old, maybe 18 legally, that's an adult age. I mean, the legal, the law, everything is saying you're an adult. Yes, but an average 18 years old may just be too dumb to actually not become an average Nigerian parent. Don't even talk about contraceptive to their child.
Yeah.
No mother. I mean, I remember going to school and then my mom one day was like, "What drug do you use? What drug did you take? You didn't even." I was like, "Oh, mommy, I want Bostopam, I want Felvin, I want paracetamol," and she said, "No. What drug do you use?" I was in the university.
And then you didn't have any knowledge about contraceptive.
You understand? Because nobody had talked to me about it. Of course, I knew my biology and everything from school, but my mom was a typical African mother who felt that it is not, telling you about it means I'm pushing you out there. So then how dare you come and ask me what drug are you on? I mean, you want to get me the pill and you have never talked to me about the pills? I was like, postpartum. I cried that day when she was like, no, I mean to prevent pregnancy. Oh, what a joke me. At that time, I never had a boyfriend. But of course, I'd always looked wild, and everybody thought, oh, she already have a boyfriend. But I had a bunch of friends. None was ever my boyfriend. I'd never even kissed at 18. So now imagine your mom asking you what pill you are on, when she never actually talked to you. That is a typical African home, typical Nigerian home. So I go back to your question: when is the right age? Let's just peg it down to when you're legally an adult and you are ready to take responsibility for the outcome. Maybe.
Okay, so what about those that has had sex before they became adults? Are there medical implications to these?
Oh, well, apart from the fact that they are exposed to a whole lot of risk, you know, as a doctor, you see a whole lot. Sometimes I want to be on a diet to look skinny like you. Sorry, I don't mean skinny. I mean, look
Okay,
like
yeah.
you. And then you get home, you are just so disrupted with everything that happened in the clinic that day. You just order a box of pizza. Because then you will see an 8 years old who is already sexually active, who already contacted HIV/AIDS.
Whoa.
8 years old, had seen that, had seen 10 years old. You see them with different manner of communicable diseases, things that are preventable. That's why I talked about irresponsible parenting. I mean, irresponsible parenting, it's the main reason why you see a child underage have this sex. Nobody to talk to. Number one, we won't talk about sex education in our homes because we think it's a taboo. And then secondly, schools are really not talking about it, or your so schools are really not talking about sex education. And then even when you do have a biology teacher who talks about it, it could be a male and then he start harassing the female girls. Now, because of course at that age, you have a whole lot of questions, and the mind of a teenager, no one can ever get into it. Now you already see your breasts coming out, the hips are coming out, you're having pubic hair and every hair, and nobody is even talking to you about these changes in your body. You have questions, and then there's this biology teacher that is sweet, you want to go and ask questions. Or you have someone in your class who is already exposed, and then you start asking your friends, you start asking neighbors, and then this is why it happens. Now I tell people, what's the point having 5, 10 kids when you don't even have time for them? You can have one and maintain and share. Yes, you can be a sit-at-home mom or a sit-at-home dad. It happens everywhere in the world. I wonder why we are still so backward in Nigeria.
Okay. Let's do my country out of that.
Yeah, I'm a pure Nigerian and I am full-fledged Nigerian. I am a taxpayer, by the way. So
Okay, thank you for paying taxes. It's made some of us look more healthy and
you're
standing on our
welcome.
roots.
You're welcome.
I pay my taxes too.
That's good.
Yeah, thank you. Now, on that note, will I say now that generally, should I put it generally now, or I'll say that I've heard severally that girls who have sex at a very early age tend to be sexually wild. When I mean wild, like wild, because they started having sex on time, and then I begin to hear that some of them it affects their productive system. Sometimes they say we hear it affects their womb. We hear that their everything just affects everything. How true is that?
Well, that is a wide topic to talk about, and you notice I talk a lot from this little discussion, and I'm not going to go into too much details, but it could go either way because you start having, you're sexually active before age 18 doesn't mean that you are wild or you're whore. I mean, compared to someone who started at the age of 30, that doesn't define how you turn out. You understand? Some people by default they could have been victims of rape. I mean, at that early age, your experience determines the outcome. Why some people get scared of having sex because of their horrible experiences. Some want to experience the beauty.
You want to explore?
Yeah, so why some people want to explore more?
Yeah.
Why? Because they've had beautiful experiences. But the point is this: being sexually active at early age predisposes you to a whole lot, because at that time most of them do not really know how to take care of themselves. They have unprotected sex. They are prone to having different kind of diseases which it may not even manifest early in life. until later in their early adulthood.
Diseases like what are you actually talking
Oh,
about?
we talk about
first later.
cancers. We're talking about, like I said,
Are you saying? This is interesting, right? I've never heard this before. You're saying that when someone has sex at a very early age, it might manifest later in life that could lead to cancer.
Because you
Cancer.
can develop some diseases like sexually transmitted infection. Talk about cervical cancers, talk about anal cancers, penile cancer, oropharyngeal cancers, talk about ovarian cancers even. There are many, even penis have cancers.
So, okay.
Now, I'm not saying early exposure to sex
Is the only
gives you,
interest,
but
yeah.
it's a risk factors.
Okay.
Now, listing it as risk factors does not mean that for everyone who has had that, or for everybody who have cancers, had early sex. No. What I'm saying is that early sex can predispose you to repeated recurrent sexually transmitted diseases that would eventually predispose you to this kind of cancers
later in life.
and other diseases. And some of these cancers can just be manageable. I mean, look at our environment, look at our community. How many researches goes on? We wait for the crumbs to come to us before we treat cancer. So, let's move on to your next question.
Okay, so my next question is talking about risk factors, right? It's a risk factor. Okay, I have heard somewhere, not just somewhere, there is a case study, a real life, and then
The real life event.
yes.
Okay.
There's this lady that got married at age 30 plus, and then later she didn't conceive, and she got married as a virgin. We later heard she's a virgin, and now why this story actually came to us is actually because she didn't conceive. So the saying is that it's because she was a virgin till 30. That once you're a virgin till that age, it becomes difficult to get pregnant.
Really? I mean, that is actually very funny. Sometimes I just wonder where we get
Wait,
all
let's
I wonder, no, I'm good.
You're good? Okay.
Yes. I wonder where we get all these facts. Should I even
I
call
know
them
it becomes
facts?
popular, it
Or
becomes
No.
believable sometimes.
No. Now, see, when we talk about infertility, when there are couples and they are not having a baby, there are a lot of things we consider.
But this lady in question is a virgin.
Okay, being a virgin. Because they
means
are
she-
infertile
she-
doesn't mean she's the one with the problem. See, 45% of cases of infertility is as a result of men. 45% comes from women. The remaining 10% is idiopathic. See, until they actually go to the hospital, have tests run on them, and then have a doctor examine them both, you can't just conclude that the woman is the one with the problem. You can't say, oh, she's been a virgin, and because she's been a virgin, have you actually investigated this couple? And did they actually meet the definition, the criteria of infertility? Okay, you said 2 years, but how often were they meeting each other? You can't be speaking in tongue, saying, they could be pastors as far as I'm concerned, and then they meet once in a month, and then come to my consulting room and you're telling me you're not there, but you're not having adequate sex for crying out loud.
Okay, we're not talking about adequate sex today.
I'm just saying that until they have adequate, and then they meet the definition, the criteria of what we call infertility, I won't jump into that conclusion. I don't know the details of that story, but both couples.
So what was the percentage of a lady to a man?
Say the lady, for example, current studies I'm not following because I'm not a gynecologist, but at least the update I have is that about 45% of infertile couple, the cause could be from the lady. Another 45% cause could be from the man, and the 10% that we really don't know, we say idiopathic. The cause is unknown. The Yorubas will say, oh, why, yeah, let's ask the people that gave them gifts during their wedding. It is true, my dear. So because when they come to the clinic, while I treat them and they run tests, they should also be praying to their gods, because whatever I am treating or whatever their gynae is giving them, they have to be ready for it. It's not, when you say infertile, it's wide. They have to go through series and bunch of tests and know that they're actually infertile. And it's not even about, when we even talk about couple, they are already one, yeah? Coupling. We remember
But the lady is the one who is not pregnant. They just feel you're the one. Like,
when you say couple, and the lady is not getting pregnant, it means we are not getting pregnant. So it's not just me anymore. It is a we. Oh, I mean, the two has become one, my dear. So whatever
The
you go
husband
through,
can go out and say, we are not happy.
no, the husband cannot go out because it is a we now. Why I take you to court? It is a we.
We are not
If
pregnant.
I'm unable to get pregnant, and you're saying, wife,
My wife
why are
is
you not
not
getting pregnant? And I'll say, husband, why are you not getting me pregnant?
Okay, so it is we that is not pregnant. So guys, stop going out there and start saying my wife is
no.
my wife is not
Eh,
pregnant.
because your wife can actually hold you responsible. Why are you not getting me pregnant, guy? I mean, what's happening? All my
I
sisters.
think that's the necessary.
It's not about you doing the necessary. It's not about how long or how hard it is. It is the quality of what comes out of it sometimes. So this is not a topic for today.
Okay,
Nancy,
okay.
but it's both ways, and I
Yeah.
think it's high time couples start seeing themselves as a unit, and then stop listening to family and friends, and then they deal with their issues together. I mean, on a more serious note, you don't go around and say, my wife is not getting pregnant. We are unable to get pregnant. We need to get pregnant. What do? Seek for help. You don't just go around. I mean, it's you psychologically, you are killing the woman, and it's high time it stops, because most of these men out there are actually not really men.
Okay, I think that is a wrap for today.
Thank
See
you.
you again in another episode.
Thank
Dr.
you,
Jules,
Nancy.
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having
I
me.
really, really appreciate it. And I have learned a lot. I have really learned a lot.
Okay.
And I know viewers have learned a lot. And then they're going to be leaving their comments. We just pray and we are pleading that hope you will be somewhere in the conversation observing and then answering
Yeah,
some of these
I
questions.
may just maybe available to answer.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you
So
for
that
having
is the
me.
end of today's show on Tea with Nancy. See you again next episode. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and then comment. And you can follow me on my social media handles on Instagram at I am Joy Nancy. See you again in the next episode. Until then, bye.
Bye.